Good afternoon. Welcome to the 2017 Distinguished Alumni Awards Ceremony. Thank you all so much for joining us here this afternoon. We certainly dialed up some beautiful weather for today and for our honorees, so we're glad that we could share this special occasion with all of you. My name is Stella Mayer, and I'm the Director of Alumni Relations here at Kane University. I'd like to congratulate our 5 honorees, George, Caroline, Geraldine, Scott, and Anne. You represent the best of our Kane University alumni. You help to show the world what our graduates are capable of and how they contribute to making our world better. You also show our current students the heights they can aspire to and the type of outstanding individuals that make up the same network of Kane alumni that they themselves will eventually belong to. It has truly been my pleasure getting to know all of you over the last few months, or getting to know some of you better. Thank you again for being here today with us and allowing us to recognize you and celebrate you and publicly claim you as one of our own. I'd also like to thank Dr. Dawood Farahi, the president of Kane University, who is with us today and will be speaking to you shortly. But first, I'd like to introduce you to a gentleman who is surely known to many of you. Edward Esposito is the president of the Kane University Alumni Association. He received 2 degrees from Kane, his undergraduate degree in 1969 and his master's degree in 1972. He first became an officer of the Alumni Association in 1972 and has served as president since 2005. He is himself a recipient of our Distinguished Alumni Award, and it is my pleasure to invite him up to the podium at this time. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our Alumni Association President, Edward Esposito.
Thank you, Stella. Good afternoon and welcome to the 55th Annual Distinguished Alumni Award Ceremony. It is my pleasure to welcome my fellow alums and our guests to Kane University today. This afternoon we are celebrating the achievements of 5 graduates from Kane University. They have all had a positive impact on the people whose lives they have touched. It has been said, our lives are not determined by what happens to us, but how we react to what happens. Not by what life brings us, but by the attitude we bring to life. I am sure that you will agree with me before this afternoon is over that our 5 distinguished alumni certainly have reacted positively and have the right attitude. The Kane University Alumni Association is proud to continue the tradition of presenting the Distinguished Alumni Awards, honoring very special alumni. This award continues to contribute to the sense of pride felt by all alumni of Kane University. Now, I've had the opportunity to meet so many of the prior recipients over all the many years that I have been with the association, as Stella just said. And each one has demonstrated their appreciation for the education and the experiences they received at Newark State, or today Kane University. This year's recipients include George Gilchrist, class of 70, Caroline M. Jolly, class of 70 and 93 MPA, Geraldine Ponto, class of 76, Scott N. Schober, class of 92, and Dr. M. Ann Walko, class of 60 and MA 64. And I'll have lots more to say about the honorees later. It is my pleasure to welcome you back to the Kane University campus. For those of you who have not been back recently, and to those of you who are here for the first time, I hope you've had an opportunity to look around at our beautiful campus and this beautiful new building. It is really spectacular. If you remember back to your days here at Newark State or even Kane College, the campus has certainly changed. The changes that have taken place and the new spirit of excellence that has swept across the Kane campus has much to do with our president, Dr. Dawood Farahi. Dr. Farahi has been president since 2003. On his watch, the university has expanded on multiple fronts, both physically and academically, and on both undergraduate and graduate levels in New Jersey and in China. His enthusiasm and boundless energy has catapulted Kane from a good university to an outstanding university, where nothing is impossible. His mission of a world-class education for every student is evident in every facet of this community, and I am very happy to be here to share in his visions. It is my pleasure to introduce my friend, Dr. Dawood Farahi.
If you would have given me a chance to speak after lunch, I would have gotten a better applause. Now you put me between, you know what it is, right? The salad and then the lunch and all of that kind of stuff. So I got a speech. Did you guys know that? I'm going to read it verbatim. It's only 9 pages. Or maybe skip this speech. Stella? Where's Stella? You wouldn't kill me if I skip your speech. Oh, thank you. Well, put the speech back and let me talk to you from the heart. It was a good university when you went to. In many fields, it was a great university that you went to. Because you're here as a distinguished alumni, you obviously benefited from this great university. But our mission hasn't changed since you were here. We still do the same things. We still have some of the best caring faculty that you can find, and one of them we're honoring today. We still are the most affordable comprehensive university in the state of New Jersey, despite what you see. And you'll say, well, how do you do that? Well, it's very simple. I rely on 3 things. I find a cause that somebody can associate with. I take their money. I find a program that somebody would like. I create the program. I take the money. And above all, the third one that always works. I sit next to them, make them feel guilty, and guilty, and guilty, until they give me the money. And then I spend it on these spectacular things for some of the students. I'll tell you a story, and then I skip the larger portion of this. About 2 weeks ago, Ann Estabrook asked me that she got an invitation from a lady from Elizabeth that was getting her white coat. That's the process 2 years before you become a medical doctor. Would you like to come? I said, I'll go. So we took 2 hours to get to Long Island, 2 hours back and 3 hours to listen to all the speeches. But every minute of it was worth it when I saw this young lady, her name was Beatrice, walk on the stage to become a medical doctor from a family that no one went to college, for an extended Italian family that no one ever became a doctor. And that was made possible by the generosity of the donor that went with me. That is what makes this job worth everything there is to possibly gain from what we do here at King. Your talent, your time, and your generosity, especially of our alumni, whether you're here or not, has made it possible to make the American dream feasible to people who never thought would be here. I never thought I would be standing in front of you. Some of you may have heard the story. I came in with one pair of shoes, the right one had a hole in it. And that's when I figured out what the duct tape was for. Put it in there and found every single location in New York City where you can eat for the same amount of money as much as you can and take a little back to your room in your pocket. And today I'm standing in front of you because somebody helped me. No other nation on this planet does the level of generosity that Americans do, especially the generosity of people like you that give your time, your talent, and all your treasure to make it feasible for our students who come from 72 different countries. And close to 60% of them are women, and over 50% of them are minorities. And we today have some of the best programs in the country, definitely many of the best programs in the state of New Jersey, some of the best scholars in the world, and some of the best teachers you could find anywhere, right here at Kane, your own alma mater. And we're not done yet. We got a whole bunch of other things. But the reason we're here today is to honor you. I met George and his family. Where's George? George told me that this place was different. I said, how different was it, George? He says, well, there's a lot of mud. Got his degree here, but for his master's, he went to that other university, which I do not want to blame him for. And I met his beautiful family. He's in our Athletic Hall of Fame. Congratulations, George. And then my three-time student that I was very nice to, Caroline Jolly. Anybody knows Caroline? One terrific lady. I could be here for 2 hours telling you all the bossiness associated with Caroline, even though I was the teacher. There are some of Caroline's children here, or young children, or children. You know what mom does. You do this, you do that. She has a list for everything on the planet. And she has a system for all of those things. And she tries to train me with her. She had a set of bodyguards. Krupinski used to be McGuire. Are you here? Donna Madrigal with the two N's. Anna Magby. Anna was here. There. So whenever Caroline walked, the three bodyguards, they were not cybersecurity issues back then, Scott. But these three came in, and God save you if you didn't do what Caroline told you to do. I'm not kidding you. And Geraldine is sitting next to me. She graduated in English and education. You should see the English department has a castle now in the Cass building. They have a pretty good location. She's a partner in one of the leading firms in the country. They just became 100 years old, like a little bit. And she takes on cases that are amazing. She even went after Madoff and caught him and got something for her clients. And, of course, Ann Walco. I just want to make sure I don't skip anyone. Where's Ann? Oh, that's another bossy one. She always would tell me, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. I said, Ann, the thing is that I'm supposed to tell you what to do. That never dawned on her. But I got even with her. I put her in Hutchinson Hall, which is hermetically sealed. You can't open windows, right? And you can't see the sunshine. That's where she is, and that's where she will stay. But she's a terrific, caring lady. She was an administrator when Frank Esposito was the VP for Academic Affairs. And she's always there for the kids. And that's what it's all about here at Kane. And Scott Schober is sitting over there with his beautiful family and the young daughter over there. I was trying to talk her into coming to Kane. She has about maybe 7 years, 8 years left to come to Kane. But it's never too early to work on her. So when she comes to Kane, you should start contributing, Scott, right now. Just trying to make sure that we have all the pieces in place. Did I miss anybody? Who did I miss? Scott? I did. I saw Scott many times, cybersecurity stuff, entrepreneurship. I think he lives here. I think you graduated in 91, 92, somewhere in that neighborhood. The computer science is in this building on the second floor. You should see what they got. It's unbelievable. We had 200 students in computer science in different areas of computer science about, maybe 7 years ago. Now we're over 600. We're the leading provider of many IT graduates in the state of New Jersey. And Scott is going to help us with that. And the other thing that I want to offer you, if you're interested, we have a campus in China. Did I tell you that? Did I tell you we have a campus at Kane Ocean? It has about 1,800 students in it. Did I tell you that too? Yeah, we do. So if you live in South Jersey, you actually don't need a passport to cross the Drexel Bridge. You could just come right straight. But if you choose not to, and you're from South Jersey, we're in Toms River, and we offer about 17 different programs, and we have about 1,800 students. But in China, we came up with an arrangement that no other American university has done. We will have the largest campus of a foreign university in China, and definitely the largest of any American public university. Our two competitors are NYU and Duke, and we left them in the dust. Do you have a video on China? Would you like to see? Okay.
This campus is still buzzing with the excitement that was created last year with our first Wenzhou Kane University commencement. We want to show you some of the buildings that we already have and use, also some of the new buildings that are under construction. We have the Associate Dean for the College of Business and Public Management, Chao Jiang, taking a tour of the new Home to the Global Business program. We also have the Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, Dr. Holger Henke, inspecting what is going to be the new housing for the faculty. There will be approximately 80 units that will be available for the faculty to live on campus in fall of 2017.
A global future awaits you, and you can be ready. Starting here at Wenzhou Key. I hope to meet you soon. Thank you.
Well, the chairman of the board is a graduate of Kane, the graduate of the MPA program like Caroline is, and he knows what Kane can do. It's a campus of about 500 acres by Chinese standards. That's a huge place. We have about 2,000 students come this fall, and we'll get to about 5,000 by 2022. By 2025, we'll be close to 7,000, and it'll max about 10,000 students. We have already built about 1 million square feet of academic and residential facilities in China. I know Jane Boziak was there. Caroline, did you go? No. Ed Esposito went, Cookie went. Who else went to China? Oh, there's quite a few of them. So, if you're a distinguished alumni and want to go to China, all you have to do is pay for your airfare, and we'll take care of the rest. How is that as a deal? You want to go to China, talk to Ed Esposito, we'll take you there. You'll land in Shanghai, we'll take you to Wenzhou, and when you get to Wenzhou, you can see the same Kane buses. We'll take you there, we'll provide residential facilities, we'll take care of your food too. And it'll be good Chinese food. Not the Chinese food you see in America, it's very great Chinese food. So if you choose to do that, we'll be more than happy to help. But today, not only we're proud of you being here, we're proud of you to have succeeded in your life. We're proud of you because you will succeed even more. We're proud of you because Kane University will always remain as your educational home. Enjoy yourself, and thank you for coming today. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dawood. The Chinese campus is an amazing place. So if you have an opportunity to go there, it is truly something that you could be proud of. You know, every time I see these videos and hear President Ferrari speak about Kean University, it makes me stop and think about how far my alma mater has come. From its early days of being a teacher's college to today, a multi-purpose liberal arts university. Our alumni of almost 90,000 strong are spread across the country and the world. We are touching the lives of so many individuals. We are successful in what we do, and we must give Kean University, in many ways, for our successes. Lunch will now be served, so please enjoy this time to relax and have your lunch. In about 20 minutes, we will begin our Distinguished Alumni Ceremony. I would like to propose a toast before we start lunch. So if you raise a glass, I have a water bottle. To the past, may we never forget the alums that have come before us. To the present, to all of us here today who honor our distinguished alumni. And to the future, may Kean University and our alumni be ever successful in whatever we choose to do. Hear, hear. Enjoy your lunch. Now's the part of the day that we have all been waiting for, a time to recognize our distinguished alumni award winners. They join an elite group of awardees, a few of whom are here with us today. If you would please rise and stand, Maria Bordas, Ed Jajowski, Lucy Orphan, Ellen Davenport, Mike Cleary, Myra Wagner, Mayor Chris Bolwich. These are all people who are former recipients of the DAA. All of the recipients are listed in this year's program, so take a look at that. I'm excited that these people will be joining the list for next year. I also want to take a moment to acknowledge the members of the Alumni Board Association Board, Stella Mayer, Jessica Perez, Giselle Marmoles from the Alumni Office, and members of the university community who have joined us here this afternoon. I see the Dean is here, Dean Pittman, and a group of other people. A special thank you to Maria Luciano and her committee for their hard work in selecting this year's recipients. If all those board members and staff would please stand up, they deserve a round of applause also. All of these people certainly make my job easier, and I thank them for all their help and support. Now, our first Distinguished Alumnus Award is presented to George M. Gilchrist. George graduated from Newark State College in 1970 with a social studies secondary education degree. After graduation, George taught at Roselle Park High School for 4 years and then transferred to the middle school. In both schools, he followed his love of basketball and coached the boys' teams. While George was at Newark State, he was a 4-year starter of the varsity basketball team and team captain. His successes in basketball led to his induction into the Kean University Athletic Hall of Fame. After receiving his master's degree, he co-developed a peer leadership program designed as a prevention process to curb drug and alcohol abuses in teenagers. Mr. Gilchrist decided to change careers in the late 80s, and after much training, he earned his credentials as a special agent with the Diplomatic Security Service. As a special agent, George served 5 U.S. Secretaries of State. He earned 3 State Department meritorious honors during his career. Those probably meritorious honors. In 1998, George began working in the private sector as a senior management of security operations at Lucent Technology, and in 2007, he became the executive manager at Ziff Brothers Investments in New York. While in college, George was president of Nu Delta Pi fraternity and still maintains a special connection with his fraternity brothers. Please take a look at the monitors around the room to see a video about George Gilchrist.
In the 60s, parents wanted their kids to go to school. It was imperative that college was part of their upbringing. And our house was pretty much the same. My mom and my dad wanted me to go away. I too wanted to go away. I thought that the entire college experience was living there, being a part of the campus community. And I had that opportunity here. I enjoyed basketball. It was an opportunity and a way for me to excel, to get a name for myself, so to speak, and to get a few pats on the back every now and then. And I met some great guys, some great teammates. Being a part of Nu Delta Pi was they were your family. We studied together, we partied together, we did crazy things together. I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to be vice president of the fraternity my junior year and then president of the fraternity my senior year. So moving away from college into the classroom, interacting with other teachers and of course with all of your students, that really was the foundation of probably the rest of my life. Graduated in 1970 and went on doing what I love to do, teach, and got a job teaching in Roselle Park, New Jersey. Coached little basketball when I was there for about 6 or 7 years. In 1986, Roselle Park District announced that I was a Teacher of the Year for that year. And I thought, well, what better time to leave than while you're on the top. In January of '87, I became a special agent in the State Department. So for the next 12 years, I was a special agent and I served in embassies overseas. I served in different cities here in the United States. And I served for about 5 secretaries of state. That was the transition really for me, was to see what else was out there, to really get involved in different things that life has to offer. I attribute that back to Kean. Kean University for me was the beginning of my adult life. And if I am ever seen by anyone to have any success, it's because of my experiences here at Kean University.
It is now my pleasure to present the 2017 Kean University Distinguished Alumni Award to George M. Gilchrist.
Whenever I've spoken in public, the microphones have always been so low for me. Hopefully you can hear me in the back. Thank you. I have a speech slightly larger than Dr. Farahi's, so settle in and dessert will be here shortly. I'd like to acknowledge Dr. Farahi. I met him for the first time today, and it felt very comfortable, like I had known him for a long time. Ed and I, we go back a long time. We pounded the pavements. We pounded the mud here at Kean for 3 years together before Ed finally graduated. I'd like to also acknowledge Stella Meyer for her support and for her kindness and her team in putting all this together. Thank you very much. I want to acknowledge the members of the board. Gary Luciano and his wife Marie hold a special place in my heart for this event this evening, and thank you very much. I also am very proud to be a member of I almost said New York State. Kane University's distinguished alumni. Um, so honored recipients and guests, congratulations are in order for this year's class, the 2017 class of distinguished alumni. It kind of validates our efforts, your efforts, and things that you've done since your graduation from Kane University. This award is probably also recognized by your family, your friends, your loved ones as long overdue, and they're happy to see you being presented with this award today. I also want to acknowledge the university for practicing this process, for continuing this procedure of distinguished alumni. I believe that it validates a university, a secondary education, a university's, a college's goals, its core values, and I also believe that for any secondary institution, that should be one of the goals, is to develop distinguished alumni. So to Kane University, my hat is off. I never expected that something like this would happen to me, coming here, joining the Distinguished Alumni Group. I stand before you very humbled, very honored, and very happy. I read through those that have come before me, and I know that this class is in good company. There are very fine alumni that have preceded us. Certainly didn't imagine in 1966 driving here for the first time with my mother, who's in the audience. You saw a photo of us getting out of the famous Corvair, Chevrolet Corvair of 1960, whatever that was, and coming into Dougal Hall, which was the only men's dormitory at the time, and I thought, I've arrived. This is it. I've made it. I'm one of the first ones in my family to attend college. I'm very proud of that, and I'm very grateful and appreciative of this opportunity. "50 years ago this month, I was finishing up my freshman year. I felt like I've made it. You know, I've introduced myself to a whole new life. I felt like my college, my teammates have accepted me, and I felt that I was on my way. But as I began to ponder today how I got here, what it takes to be a distinguished alumni, what it takes for people to recognize that you possibly could be one, I was dumbfounded. But the more I thought about it, the one thing became very obvious. Excuse me. I didn't get here alone. I don't think anyone really gets to this place alone. I stand here before you on the shoulders of many people that have been my mentors, my guides, my teachers, and my coaches before me. And it's for those people that I have great appreciation. For it's those people that helped me come along in my life and to do whatever it was that the board felt was significant enough to count me as a member of its distinguished alumni. I would ask your patience as I mention a few of those people to you today. I think it's important, especially for me. First of all and foremost would be my mom and dad. I lost my dad January 1st, member of the greatest generation, fought his way through the Pacific, occupied Japan, came home, started and raised a family. My mom, who's in the audience, Mom, if you could stand. My mom, obviously, like all moms, have been very supportive and a little pushy at times. Thank goodness. While here at Kane University, or Newark State at the time, I'd like to acknowledge a few people from that era. John McEnroy was the director of Dougal Hall at the time. He was our dad of all the guys that lived there. And John gave me the freedom and the leeway to really grow my confidence at that time. Dexter Pease. I don't know if there are those among you that remember Dexter Pease. He was the assistant registrar at the time, a very close friend. He became the advisor to our fraternity, Nu Delta Pi. He was a Gilchrist advocate from the very beginning. I don't know why. Perhaps it was something that he saw. I'd like to also mention several members from the history department. Doctors Howard Didsbury and Howard Fuhrer, Marjorie Sugg, and I apologize that I don't know if she ever attained her doctorate. But they were professional role models at the time. I wasn't aware, but they were. They challenged me and they encouraged me. As I got my first job, very different from young people today, this jobs seemed to be a plethora, and there wasn't a problem. But I student taught, did my practice teaching in Roselle Park, and they hired me to be a new teacher in 1970. The principal at the time was Mr. Dale Springer. He was another person, along with the principal that I experienced when I taught in the middle school, Mr. Roy Dragon. Both of these individuals were by far the greatest bosses, and I've had a few, to name a couple of secretaries of state, who were the best bosses I ever had.